As the greatest player in franchise history who is now eligible for a contract extension, will Nikola Jokic sign a new deal with the Denver Nuggets this offseason? Has Denver satisfied with their flurry of moves in free agency, all of the holes on their roster? And we will have a special guest joining us a little bit later in the show to debut some pretty exciting news about Colorado State Rams football. All things to come on today's rundown, but we will begin in the NBA, where as of this morning, Nikola Jokic is eligible to sign a 3-year max extension worth just over $200 million with the Denver Nuggets. This would tack onto the handful of years remaining that he has on his current Supermax extension and would presumably lock him in at a more team-friendly rate. The question now becomes, will the Joker sign the deal? If he waits another year or beyond this current date, he'll be eligible for a 4-year max extension worth a little bit more money, average annual value, and an extra year tacked on to that in guarantees. But he has to wait until then in order to sign it. And for the Nuggets, there could potentially be some benefit in him signing it now. There also could be some benefit for the Joker in signing a 3-year max extension on top of his current Supermax right now, because a 3-year window would allow him to cash in on potentially another massive contract instead of having to push things out another year and potentially get deeper and deeper into his 30s. So things between Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets have, by and large, throughout the majority of his time here in Denver, have been nothing but fantastic. He has been the ultimate low maintenance, high delivery superstar. And while there has seemingly been some tension lately as the Nuggets have fallen short of the NBA Finals in the last couple of years, my gut tells me that everything is going to be okay, and I would not be surprised either way, whether he signs it or not. Josh Kroenke kind of seems to feel like he's in the same boat. When he was asked during his introductory press conference for co-executive vice presidents John Wallace and Ben Tenzer about a Jokic extension, he said this, quote, "I'm not sure if he's going to accept it or not, because we're also going to explain every financial parameter around him signing now versus signing later. To be completely transparent, that's the way we always are. And he makes the best decision for himself and his family, and we will support him in it." In reality, is it a huge deal whether or not the Joker signs this contract extension that he's eligible for as of today, right now, or if he waits another year, considering he has multiple years remaining under contract? In the grand scheme of things, no. But I do think that him signing a max extension now that would tack on to the end of his current contract and would probably be lower in average annual value and less in years than if he signed the 4-year max extension that he will be eligible for if he waits, would be a team-friendly option that would help the Nuggets maintain title contention status, given the cap constraints that they are still having to navigate through with some of the contracts and decisions handed out by the previous regime. And for all of the speculation around the Joker maybe not being super thrilled with the front office work of Calvin Booth or Michael Malone or potentially certain hires and signings here and there, ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported earlier this week on the Hoop Collective podcast that he has heard secondhand that the Joker has been extremely pleased, quote unquote, with the Nuggets offseason moves, including bringing in Cam Johnson in place of Michael Porter Jr., bringing back the key critical sixth man on the championship team in Bruce Brown, signing Tim Hardaway Jr., a veteran who can provide shooting, especially from beyond the arc, off the bench, and then the still up in the air, but hopefully could be completed trade of Jonas Valanciunas in exchange for Dario Saric in his terrible contract. So if Brian Windhorst, who's as connected as just about anybody in the NBA, is a man of his word and is hearing credible intel that Nikola Jokic is pleased with these offseason moves, then I will be okay with him signing the extension or waiting, because I know that the Joker is in place. Coming up in just a couple of minutes here, we are going to bring in a special guest for CSU Football to debut some exciting news going on up there in Fort Collins. But in the meantime, I will say this, to put a bow on the Joker and his contract extension, it doesn't ultimately matter whether or not the Joker signs his contract extension that he's eligible for now versus the future if he waits another year. But the financial components and the dynamics at play could be more beneficial to the Nuggets if they can convince him and if the Joker is willing to sign now. Locking him in and tacking those years on to the extra portion after his current contract would be a more team-friendly rate and would be less years that could potentially allow the Joker to cash in on another mega contract from the Nuggets. Considering Brian Windhorst said that he is happy, extremely pleased with the offseason moves that John Wallace and Ben Tenzer have made, and that the fact that they have these options on the table, I'm not going to be too concerned one way or the other. All right. It is time to bring in our special guest, the athletic director for the Colorado State Rams, John Weber, joins us on the show now. John, thank you so much for joining us today to commemorate something pretty special to both parties here, in that CSU Football will now be broadcasted on DenverSports 104.3 The Fans airwaves as the biggest sports radio station in the state of Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on today. This is it's a great opportunity for both of us. We're really excited to partner with you. We're really excited to reach our fan base in the Denver metro area through over the airwaves there, and really connect with our 100,000 alumni in the Denver metro area. So this is a great opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you guys have a lot going on up there at Fort Collins. It's been an exciting couple of years on the gridiron. And you also have a new stadium that you've been debuting. And there's, beyond football, there's been some pretty exciting things in the potentially music and entertainment world that stadium has opened up to bring to campus. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. We're really excited to host PBR, Professional Bull Riding, in Canvas Stadium here in July 21st and 22nd. We're just 2 weeks out from that. Great 2-day event, and then it's headlined with a couple of concerts as well at the end of Monday and Tuesday with Cross Canadian Ragweed and John Party, 2 great acts. We're going to fill that stadium. We're going to have a really, really good time with that. It's our first opportunity to do something like that beyond, a commencement process or a football game there in Canvas Stadium. But that is a beautiful state-of-the-art facility. Brought it online in 2017, and we built it to do things like this. So, the fact that we've got those kind of things going on here in Canvas Stadium in Fort Collins in northern Colorado, it's a great opportunity for our community.
On the football field this upcoming season, you're going to host 7 home games at Canvas Stadium, starting with Northern Colorado in early September, UTSA, Washington State, Fresno State, Hawaii, which is a fun one, UNLV, and then finishing with Air Force. John, which game selfishly do you have circled on your calendar that you're most excited about?
That's like picking your favorite kid.
I know. That's why I got to ask
you. To do that
because everyone says that it's like picking your favorite kid, but everyone's got one, John.
So my favorite one is the next one, and it's important that that we've got everyone showing up for us there at Canvas Stadium. We did a great job last year. We averaged 33,000 fans. We had 4 sellouts. We're going to get that to 6 and 7 sellouts this fall, with a packed house that creates a really wonderful competitive advantage for our football team. And it's an important year for us to do that. With us heading into the Pac-12, we need to go in with a full head of steam, and we've been building a great program here. We got a lot of success, brewing in Fort Collins. It's something that I think we're all excited about and proud of.
That was actually going to be my next question to you. Was you're less than a year from joining the Pac-12 conference, which has undergone a complete overhaul and makeover in recent years in this ever-shifting landscape of college football. Where is your guys' head at as a program, and where's the excitement level for joining a new conference less than 12 months from now?
Yeah, we're obviously incredibly excited about the opportunity that the Pac-12 brings. We're proud members of the Mountain West, right now, and on July 1st of 2026, we'll be proud members of the Pac-12. But it's an opportunity for us to grow, not just athletically, but academically as well. We've got some great partner institutions that we're going to be working with as we head into the Pac-12 and as that conference comes back to life again. It's a storied conference with a lot of great history around it, and we're super excited to be able to join that and grow along with those other institutions.
Moving away from the football side of things, I do want to sneak in a basketball question because there's been a lot of excitement on the hardwood that was generated over the last couple of years, and Niko Medved was a big part of that. But now, in this next chapter of Colorado State Rams football, as the 21st head coach in program history, you guys elevated Ali Farokhmanesh to be the new head coach. And he's someone who's been with your program for almost a decade, if I'm not mistaken, right? 7 years or so as an assistant. So what went into influencing that decision, and where do you see that taking this program now in 2025 and beyond?
Yeah, Coach Farokhmanesh absolutely earned this opportunity. He's worked his tail off ever since he came into the industry as a coach. Coach Medved did a phenomenal job of developing him and giving him opportunities to grow, personally and professionally, over the course of the 7 years that he was here in Fort Collins. So I'm really proud of the work that he did. But Coach Ali, he did this. He earned this. We're excited about what he's been able to do. He did a phenomenal job of putting his roster together. He fought hard in the transfer portal, and in comparison to past years, we're even going to be bigger and stronger and faster than what we've been. So I think there's a lot of reasons to be incredibly excited about a basketball program going into this winter.
In summary, John, to the hundreds of thousands of listeners who tune into 104.3 The Fan on our FM signal, who are going to have access to your football games at CSU as well as pregame and postgame content, what would be the one thing, the one message that you would like to get across to them, and a lot of which may be hearing your broadcast for the first time this upcoming season?
Yeah, obviously, if they're not in Fort Collins and not in Canvas Stadium, we want them to tune in and listen to what we're all about. But we're building on a lot of success up here in Fort Collins. Our football program is gaining a full head of steam. We've invested in a lot in that over this offseason in a lot of different respects. I think we're really bullish on where we sit going into the fall. And Coach Norvell and I both, share a mutual excitement about where we're headed and what we think we're going to be able to achieve. There are great things going on in Fort Collins.
John, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate everything that you've got going up there at Fort Collins. And we here at Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan couldn't be more happy and excited and proud to be able to bring your football program onto our airwaves and make it a part of all the wonderful things that we have going on. We will proudly, like our contributor and friend of the station, Terrell Davis, we will raise our hands as Rambassadors, and can't wait to get things going in the fall here a little bit later. Thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate you, and go Rams.
Awesome. Go Rams. That's right. John Weber, the athletic director for Colorado State University, was our guest on today's show, breaking some exciting news that for all of you Ram fans and for college football fans alike, Colorado State football will now be heard on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, pregame, postgame, and the great work that Brian Roth and company do. Our own Chad Andrus, one of our fill-in talent on 104.3 The Fan, does some work with them as well. My producer, Trey Hawkins, behind the scene, former CSU Ram football player and Ram alum. So happy to be able to join these two things together for this upcoming football season. Thank you all so much for joining me. We'll catch you again tomorrow at noon.